be used, etc. And the question that I have in that regard is whether or not there's any cooperation between the city of Cloverdale and the federal government with regards to the use of flock information.
No.
That was easy clarification.
Yeah.
Dan, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Through the mayor, do you need a presentation or any further follow up on the police portion? On the police portion, does that?
No, I got an answer that's more than adequate to satisfy my needs, but I would like to get back in the role as far
I
as.
think our last meeting for clarification, the last meeting that we talked about DD, there was like 997,000 collected in 3 quarters.
Yes.
So now it's at 1,032,000 up to right now.
I think I saw that spreadsheet just before that last meeting, et cetera, but I would like to get it, if it's possible to get a breakdown on that.
How much spent outside of town versus, okay.
Yeah,
I think your whole city would want, or I mean, council would
Yeah.
want that as well. After a year, after we get everything submitted, that we would look at it and see how it plays out.
Now, give an update on the
At least
DD.
that's what I would ask for.
and this afternoon I will make my 4th quarterly payment, so it'll have the year figures coming in. Well, I don't know when you get the money, but very short,
Awesome.
that's all I had to say.
Thank you, Daniel. All right, and then we are going to, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I wanted to comment about the EKI doing the Sonoma water thing. Kevin was nice enough to, invite me to have a conversation with him, which I did. I engaged him in conversation, and it doesn't feel like it's being something serious, because after this conversation at the last meeting, it came up that they're gonna actually present. And the other part of it too is online, I had mentioned something about this, and Todd has commented that it had gone through an RFP process. I think that's what it's called. And from all of what I've been able to gather, it never went through that process. So I'm getting mixed signals, and I just want to say that because Esmeralda and everyone in here, it might not be controversial to some people in here, but it is to the community and the optics. I see a conflict of interest, and I think that needs to be taken seriously and sensitively. So even if there isn't technically a conflict of interest, I think there is, and that can be argued, but even if there isn't, it would be really nice to feel that our concerns about this are being taken seriously, and that an RFP and some alternatives are explored other than having EKI work with Sonoma Water on that project for that grant.
Yeah, through the mayor, in the conversation you had with Jennifer, did you tell her about the other companies and their pricing? Yeah. So then you've heard everything they have. You obviously all the companies that were.
One, two, there's two.
Okay, and
But it wasn't that.
they were $40,000 each more than this one. And this went through Sonoma Water as well to confirm that it was right. Without getting into discussion, because it's not an action, I don't know if something we can discuss.
Isn't that when we get a chance to discuss it, or no? Is it not?
Like right now, it's right now, future council. Yeah.
Okay.
When it comes to-
Can I just quickly just say one other thing? Yeah, but they were bidding for different things, so the scope of work was different. That's why there's the different prices out. So it wasn't the exact same, you guys didn't put together like the exact parameters, and that wasn't like everyone wasn't bidding on the same job. It just seems like it was kind of throughout. It's like what we can do for you. So like loose.
Do you want to see that? Thank you, extension in there?
I'd love to see it put out, yeah, and maybe put out the bid.
So in public comments related to the water rate for that part of the agenda?
Well, yeah,
Okay.
if you would, Rob.
And then the only thing with the follow-up on the EK1, I thought that was something we tabled or not proceeding with.
Well, we tabled it at the last meeting because we wanted to have one of the EK1 representatives there to do their presentation, be on site. So that's why we tabled that.
Because we talked about it being $70,000 and then $77,000 as a presentation. So we're spending $77,000, is that correct?
That was something we tabled, will be on the next agenda when they can come present to us and.
At that amount.
Yes, at that amount, yes.
Any other public comment? We'll wait for yours, Rob, coming up on the waters on the other things. All right, and then at the request of one of the folks here, we want to move we're gonna move down to item 8, community garden management plan, and let Superintendent Galvan give his presentation. He has another meeting to get to, so go ahead.
Thanks, Chair Wheeler, Vice Chair Vance. I figured I'd just come out and give everybody an update on the community garden. We have been reaching out to our neighboring cities, Healdsburg and Windsor, Santa Rosa, and even Ukiah. And just trying to get their input on how we can bring together our community garden here for our community. The town of Windsor has a very good model that we're gonna be getting some stuff from, and then as well as the city of Healdsburg. I met with the city of Healdsburg staff last week, and theirs is kind of fits like what we want to accomplish here with the city. They have a great liability waiver similar to what we have here as far as our policies. They have a great the application agreement covers everything that we've taught in the last few city council meetings. And as far as pricing and they have a really good model there. They have the procedures and rules and regulations. It's also very close to what we want to accomplish here. So hopefully here in the near future, we're going to bring all this framework we brought up this is my notes here. This framework will be brought back up to city council for review and consideration. Once it's developed, we're very, very close. I think I just need a few more hours to put this stuff together, and then we can review it as a group and then move forward. If you guys want me to, I don't know if this is the right place to talk about the actual building, but the building part for me is not to sound the easiest part, but we've got all the materials, most of the materials ordered. We identified the irrigation system where we're gonna cap it off and where we're gonna build from for the existing to build the new drip system from there, which is gonna be great. We're gonna save a lot of water. So it's moving forward.
Are we doing all the dirt work in-house?
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up.
Are they gonna use the dirt that they move around to kind of level it and all
Right.
that, or?
So we're gonna do, this is where the big savings is. Because of talking to the neighboring cities, they some of these neighboring cities, they actually contracted it out to these contractors to build this, and it was a tremendous amount of money. So we will be saving a lot of money by building that in-house. We have some great operators, we have great folks that have a lot of talents. So we're gonna be doing some grading, we're gonna be redoing all the irrigation system. When I brought this up in the past, the nice thing about this location is that we have ADA access. We have parking, we have utilities, we have water, we have lights. We're thinking about adding additional lighting there. So overall, I think we kind of got a pretty good idea of what we're
The only other thing, Hector, that's been brought up to me a couple times from some of the community folks is the fence.
Right.
And I know we're gonna have to really kind of hash that out. We don't want to make it look like a compound. You know, we want to make it look inviting, but also have some type of security.
Right.
So you and I'll have to get together and
Yeah.
figure out how to work that.
On the original contract, on the original estimate that I brought up, few weeks back on the city council meeting. It included split rail fencing, but that was just something just to throw in there as a starter. We can always do some type of really nice green fencing that looks inviting. But yeah, because it's Cloverdale, we got a lot of deer, so.
Big time.
We had a call out the other day for an emergency call. I drove by there at 6 o'clock in the morning, about 45, and there was two deers there eating. And so I was like, yeah.
We're drawing them in.
When I was working nights and John probably see it too, you'd see a dozen of them out there. It's a great spot.
They love how you guys
Put a
put
little
parks.
both sides of the city, yeah. But that's I just wanted to give you guys a little update. We're really close to everything. The building part, we got everything we need for the most part. We got it on schedule. We have all this. We got a really good idea on this. We're pretty close to it.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Share one quick update on that. We had previously informed the council that he'd be coming back on in May, I think the first meeting or second meeting was May with the management plan. Which is what he's talking about. One of the things we discussed was meeting, and we've already sent out an email to the people in the community that are interested in being on that community group that manages the program. But having their input put into this before it goes to council. So
Yeah.
it might be a little bit before council, since we're not under the wire like we were before, since we're not planning on. Previously, it was build it before April, get it all running.
It gets better, man. That's what's gonna make it successful.
So we just want to give you that heads up here,
Yeah.
that it's not gonna come immediately, but it is still gonna be on a future agenda for council.
Sounds good.
The city manager has reached out to everyone that wants to is interested on volunteering for this. I think we have 8. We have 7 or 8 folks and they're still coming in, so
We were thinking we were gonna put a sign up where the garden's gonna be, say, a future garden, and have a point to make a QR code, so if you're interested, click, give us your emails, and we can start generating a list of people. Start getting them involved with
And
it.
at that first meeting, when we meet with them, that's when we kind of go over, this is what we're proposing. What are your thoughts and how do you guys want to organize, you know, and be involved and really get a little more procedural so we can prevent or propose.
Community input from those guys is gonna be key.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, to get everything successful.
Yeah.
It's perfect. And bring it when we get, after we get with the community and all that, then we'll get it to council as it evolves.
for sure, thank you.
Yes, I'd like to make a public comment, and I've made this comment before, during meetings. You see, Berkeley did a tech study, techs love wood. We have, picnic tables at the park that are falling apart that are wood, and we also have picnic tables in the new open space, and we really need to concentrate on buying metal tables that will last longer and people won't be sitting on those projects are falling apart.
I think at the infrastructure meeting, also that's going out today, the agenda for that meeting. And they're gonna be talking significantly more about what the actual map's gonna look like, I assume, and what areas are gonna be used. We can definitely have that comment.
And for Soda Springs too.
Yeah, but it's the infrastructure, that's, when's that meeting next week? Or-
Monday,
And discussion.
that agenda will be going out later this afternoon.
Any other comments on this item? Seeing none, all right, we're gonna move into, back up from 8 community cards, so we can get Hector out of here,
Thank you.
and we will move into number 1, which is the council
Thank you,
goals.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Mike and I have been, working on, getting some goals together for you guys to consider. We want to present those at the budget meeting next week. They're similar to what we did at the last budget meeting. We have, changed them a little bit based on the new circumstances that we're having now. And so I didn't really want to get into a big discussion because I feel like it's something that the whole council should look at. Just, I want to let you know that they are being worked on and we're going to present those. I was considering emailing to the council in advance, but I mean, we'll probably just introduce them. They're very similar to last budgets. So just, Mike, I don't know if you have anything else to, Mike's been working on this too, so.
No, one of the main difference, they're really similar, like I said, to the last, goals that we used to get insight and influence the budget box. Really, the only difference now is we're kind of looking at how the council's adopted a mission, vision, and values. Make sure that these goals align with that. You know, everything with the budget, a cyclical thing, going like scenarios, but the budget informs. The goals inform the budget, and the budget is supposed to be the mission, vision, and values. But other than that, they're pretty standard.
Yeah, I think this is a must that it goes to all the council at once, so everybody can see it. Prime forum for that would be the budget meeting like we've done previously, so.
That early on.
Okay. All right, any other questions on that? None. All right, let's move into budget overview, item number 2.
So, I can just start, we're planning our budget retreat on Tuesday at 9 o'clock at the firehouse and, at that time, we give them we give a good presentation. Susie and I will do kind of a back and forth on the overview, where we are, what's changed since last year. Just a snapshot of our revenues, all the things things that have changed. And then we're gonna go into, each department. We'll talk about what they've achieved, what they're looking to achieve. Just note that the things that they're looking to do in this next budget are in the current budget. So if you see something there that you want to further discuss, and we'll go over all this on Tuesday, so if you remember all this. And then we're gonna move into the discretionary items like we did last time. So there'll be items on there, the funding requests from community groups, potential new positions here at the city, and some other things. So we don't expect to walk out of there with all the answers. It's really just a first, here's what we came up with, here's where we're looking on the numbers. Provide input, and in years past, we've gone back to the council afterwards for adoption. It's more discussion. So if we can even just have a good discussion about those discretionary items, so you guys can get a good understanding of where we're sitting right now.
What's our timeframe for budget approval? When we have that
Before June 30th.
before June 30th?
So based on what we hear, we'll come back to it. So,
Will you have negotiations, any type of sunshine and or numbers that we're kind of plug in?
Well,
Or what, say, police officers association or anyone is expecting, any ideas that you can kind of say, hey, let's add 3% of this budget to make sure we're safe in one of those lines. Or is it-
Typically, we don't do that.
I know,
because-
I'm just asking if you were at any point with any of them, I don't think you were, but.
we do have a kind of unknown, like a slide that's of the unknowns, what's coming, that we don't know.
Yeah,
Didn't expect.
we'll have like,
Just make
this
sure.
is what a 1% full would look like. So you can extract from there, it's 3%, -3. But the only increases in wages are from the regular steps that people are.
At this point, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Does the budget include both expenses and capital projects that you're looking at?
Yes,
The reason I was asking is some of the capital projects that were touted in 2021 talked about 65% contingencies. Is that correct for capital? For example, there was a specific well that was talked about, and they said we need a 65% contingency. Yeah. And again, I don't know if that well's been done or what have you.
I don't know either. 'Cause I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know.
I can forward that to you.
It would have been from the 20.
Yeah, post Hildebrand study back then.
Oh, I see.
And because we were arguing with David Elliott, on the 65% was totally unreasonable, and that was being used across our capital improvement project to raise the water rates. Anyways, we'll get to that.
Okay, I see.
But
what
I
you're
was
saying
thinking in
now.
terms of budgeting, are we budgeting 65% margin? Like, I thought about that when Todd mentioned 3%. For safety.
I believe all of ours came from the engineer. From Vanessa, that's where we got all
I'm
of
not
our.
sure if Vanessa was here in 2020.
We only came in late 2021.
Yeah, so you missed all the fireworks prior to the rates going up.
So, and the 3%, I just made that number up.
No, no,
I wanna make sure
the
there's
65%, I didn't.
We're not,
Right, no, the 65% was specific from the city.
and that was even before my time.
Yep, no,
You can meet this 65%.
Yeah. pay that back to the citizens.
So that's just a kind of a preview of what we're planning. We'll have coffee and stuff and lunch.
And it is an open meeting. Yes, it is, so you guys want to.
And it starts at 9 o'clock, Rob, if you're
Is
interested.
that coming out in the, like in one of your notices, Mike?
I know we mentioned it at the last council meeting, it was brought up that we're having it, and,
An agenda hasn't been posted yet.
Oh, no, I was,
Today.
and it will be at the firehouse also.
oh, it's a nice place there, isn't it?
Right.
A little more than.
Yeah, after the Tubbs fires, is Mr. Blackman still there? Had a great interview with him, he did a fantastic job for us.
He won't go away.
Well, I liked him.
All right, any other questions on that item?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
We can't record at the firehouse.
Nope.
And I think that's an issue, so maybe next year we should plan to have it at the Performing Arts Center, because some things that we're talking about at the last budget meeting were not carried through, and it's hard to do that because we didn't have. There should be a delay, right?
Well, the action is really big. What we can do, if council's interested, I can't work as a quorum of council. The full council's interested, or Kevin wants to do it, what we can do is set up maybe an iPad or a laptop to we could record the meeting. It would just be, you may not be able to see the presentations, because being another entity's system, it was really hard to get into theirs and project the software and stuff, but if we, the most part, at least the public would be able to hear the conversation that happened.
I feel like they couldn't hear or we didn't see it there.
The problem is we don't have the technology for when we did it. three budgets ago. We used to have a little microphone, kind of like you guys, if you remember it here, we just placed it in the middle.
Right.
It's broken, it barely worked when we were using it, so it would just be a computer and whatever.
There's thousands of complaints if you try to do it with Zoom or whatever, so yeah, you're better off sticking to your plan. And then at one of our next council meetings, this should get brought up, or even at that meeting, at the end of it, for future agenda items to do that. That way we're not on it now, and just like, it's re-brought up during that meeting. So that we know we're good. That, I get, no people here disagrees, it's something I should do.
Being a workshop, while there's recommendations in some direction coming from council, there's no approvals. So at least for that part, everything will be going back to council for formal consideration. So any members of the public, if there's interest in or concerns about transparency and things like that, which, you know, could come. At least there's another forum, another opportunity to review everything that was discussed. Right.
At least one.
At least once. In addition to that meeting.
Yes.
And the public is allowed to attend that meeting, or any of the members of the public will attend.
And workshop style, that is a great environment for it, so.
So totally. But yeah, in the future, if it's something that the council, we have to consider likely either changing venues or buying technology. Because we don't currently have anything that would work over there.
What would we need if we needed to record over there?
Similar to our system, we do have.
I mean, baseline, get it recorded,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Still,
we could just record, it's more the audio issue,
Right.
because without you guys having the microphones attached to that system, which we don't have. It would just be whatever. So it may, depending on the placement of it, it could be something that kind of moves around depending on.
right.
It's just, it won't be a good recording, there's possibilities, it won't look very.
I'm just
professional.
thinking something not high budget like we did over here, but I mean, if it comes up for future budget meetings, when everybody has to do this, if this comes up again to have some type of.
Yeah, I'm sure we can definitely look into.
Because that's the best place, firehouse is the best place to have this
No.
workshop.
I was just thinking for, with a tight turnaround of meetings on Tuesday, I don't think that we'd be able to.
Gotcha.
Or anything for that meeting, but, in the future, we can definitely look at,
Maybe it can be a budget item.
yeah.
Perfect. All right, any other comments on that?
I still, why can't we just move it to the Performing Arts Center where we can record it? Instead of adding to the budget to buy something to do.
I'll talk to Lenora
We're gonna
and
be real careful with what we're doing here.
yeah, exactly.
We're making decisions with the third council member, sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. but-
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just raising questions you don't even have to answer. I'm like making public comment.
I understand that it's still violating the Brown Act, because you're.
If we do get direction from the chair, vice chair, the staff, I don't have a problem looking to see if the facility is available. I know we have plenty of dates and where it will cost the city additional funding to do that meeting, but I don't know.
Workshops are better around the table kind of thing, as opposed to a stadium seating like a college class.
Yeah.
That's my recommendation, but.
But if there's interest in that, definitely work with the city manager on that.
From my point of view, not this time.
Not at this time.
Right, any other questions on that? Seeing none, all right. Let's move into number 3, Public Works Water Wastewater Projects Funding and Budget Update.
A lot of projects. I wanted to, usually you guys see me at the infrastructure meetings. I wanted to take advantage of this. First admin meeting to get you guys updated on budget numbers, costs, intake, output, things like that. Not really any project updates. We're just gonna do some high level, some numbers. I'll also give these numbers to the infrastructure subcommittee, and in that committee, we'll go in a little bit deeper with the project update, more in depth. So, to start off with, the project we've been working on for a long time, the turnkey project. See what else over there smiling. We're nearing the end of that and working with PG&E to get that solar panel going. But as of right now, the total invoices paid from the DWR portion of the grants that cover the water meter is there'd be the AMI meter upgrades, the well projects, and the SCADA, which you're taking out of the grant, would be a $1 million $595,049 with on the way and paid and in process, a total of $2,886,437.70. So where you see that grant money from the DWR portion of that grant that we've linked the turnkey project with coming in. And
Derek, there was a grant from the DWR.
Yep.
And then there was also.
Yep, yeah,
The COVID money.
yeah, so
We
so
did put it-
on the other part of that, that went towards the AMI meter part of that, we have that portion of DWR, we have also have the ARPA money that. 278,366 went towards the AMI meter project, and a portion of it, that went towards the wastewater too, but I don't have that number, I just have the water, so it's for AMI.
So those added projects, post Hildebrand 2021 tie up city resources as well, which is one of the reasons why the critical mandated infrastructure projects couldn't get either started or finished.
Currently, I can't speak to the exact link to whether projects were pushed because of this. I know this is part of that debt financing, and there's a, we have. Still quite a bit of that debt financing left. Since it was debt finance, I'm looking at it now as to where if that money was borrowed, it shouldn't have taken away from project money, but
There's still the idea, talked about this, Rob, that the savings is paying for some of that debt financing.
Right, well, previous councilwoman Bagby, she was quite vocal saying she was turned around to do debt financing. The problem, she believed, and she asserted that the 8 million in loans would give us $12 million in savings. So I'm dying to see any portion of that $12 million in savings. Because I'm very skeptical of that feedback from that councilwoman. Probably that was in 2022. I can dig that back out.
What about in 21,
Yeah,
it was, I was,
whatever the debt financing.
when I came on is when that started, so
Sorry.
it's just finishing, the signs are just coming out. So, we're talking.
we are seeing with, especially with the AMI project, that the ability to get the DWR grant was the ability of us showing the water savings, right? And we are seeing that water savings.
Just document it and share it and be transparent.
Yes, and then, but that water savings is resulting in less revenue for the city. Where customers are able to identify leaks faster. People are monitoring their water live online, so we're seeing that usage go down. I think it was like 17%. Yeah,
So, but the same token, we should be adding hundreds of meters. I keep seeing apartments and things like that getting fired up, so they need water, correct?
yeah. I mean, we really haven't had any of the 3 big projects come online except for the lighting power distribution.
We're very curious to see what the savings are, and there's going to be an audit. I think we talked about that.
Yeah.
The solar hasn't been turned on, or is it?
It has not.
Well, and then that's not.
Well, that's the reason, Kevin, we talked a couple days ago. The thing about the solar panel, they talked about saving electricity, and they showed big savings starting in 2023, 24, 25. I mean, I've seen tables in that.
Yeah.
Buried in these huge
We
reports.
don't disagree.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's been a rough process dealing with PG&E, including that.
well,
Yeah.
we can't, it's our city, it's our money, right? So we can't point the finger at anyone.
I think that, I'm skeptical too that it will pay 100% of the debt financing, but I'm optimistic it will pay for some percentage. And we don't know that number yet, so. I know, Rob, I'm.
No, it's just philosophical. I'm on the page as you go, not take.
So,
if you don't need to.
The problem with this one, and it fires us up as well,
Yeah, no,
might even be more than you, because that should have been hooked up a long time ago. And that's, I think the numbers, if I remember correctly, it's like $50,000 a year type of kick in. And so that's $150,000 right there, without blinking an eye, that should have been back towards this.
You can pave one of the streets
We
with
can
slurry.
push all we want on PG&E, but they put you on their calendar when they choose to. They do it with houses, like me as a contractor to get a meter sometimes, if I wanna do a meter change, it's 9 months to 12 months. When I had built, or done a commercial building here in town, we had to upgrade the meter. It took 1.5 years.
Right.
It's unacceptable to me. They are the worst company to try to get any of this out of them.
And even worse is transformers, except for the Tesla one over here.
Let's not even get me started on
Uh,
that. However,
Trust me.
Well, you're gonna be here, I'm gonna go more into depth on that project, the details on Monday, at the infrastructure. Okay, moving on, out of the AMI meter project. Update on kind of these larger scale projects, tanks, water, things like that. The South Crest tank, also known as Cherry Creek Tank, Cherry Creek Reservoir. We've done a considerable amount of work. We have, I think, 30% plans for that, for the 2-tank solution as taken to council. We build out, we did use 16,000 to apply for a grant to pay for that through DWR. We were not successful in getting that grant. Towards the $77,700 agreement for the hydraulic evaluation for the impacts of taking the tank offline and the impact of adding 2 new ones.
Very quick question on that. How many of those studies have we done for that project?
The one hydraulic study.
Just one?
Yeah.
Seems like we've done, well, I mean, is there a sunset on these studies?
Well,
Like,
Mo Engineering did one many years ago. I think that was in 21.
I believe the final report was dated in 2021.
Yes, so Mo Engineering did that report in 2021.
Mo's report recommended additional hydraulic analysis.
Yes.
So what about the August 2010 report, section 55, page 78? I won't read it all, but one of the significant items was the hot springs and Southwest reservoirs were having trouble recharging during peak demands. So I'm assuming that's been fixed, maybe not. In several locations, pipe size and the subsequent water flow was not adequate to serve the minimum fire flow requirements for those locations during peak hour demands. And I'm assuming that's been fixed by expanding. And third, the maximum water production capacity from existing well field improvements doesn't meet state regulations. This was, I believe, it's a coastland back in 2010. So if that's still the status quo, I'm concerned. Hopefully something's been done to remediate some of those.
Yeah, I think
issues
some of the
identified then.
demand on that system with the expansion of zone 3 taking over, being plugged into zone 1 in certain areas. Kind of took that demand, but there is still, that tank serves as a ballast, right, for one of those
Yeah,
pump
is that
stations.
support, is that about that? So you've since added what they call looping?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so that part's been done.
yes, and
But
then,
is that a Band-Aid or is that a permanent fix?
I mean, looping is always permanent, so we can feed things from multiple directions. Yeah, it's not like we're gonna take them back out.
And did you extend the 12-inch mains to address the flows?
I don't know
There's been no
what
work-
sections of 12-inch main they would be talking.
It's in the report of 2010.
Okay.
The reason I went back is this thing has been good. These things seem, I wasn't here in 2010, I gotta go in
Yeah, neither
2018.
was I.
So if these things are perpetual, this is the debate previous councilman said, we've got to stop kicking the can down the road, right?
Mhm.
So I'm hoping none of these are as bad as they were in 2010. And then in 2017, something was supposed to happen. They didn't bring that report. And then in 2020, 2021, post Hildebrand, all these things are going to be fixed over the next 5 years. So there is older reports.
Yes.
That you can dig
I'll-
into and see if things.
I'll
will be
see what I
fixed.
can find on this 12-inch main upgrades. So, continuing with the tank project budget wise, for the hydraulic evaluation, contract was $77,700. We're billed out $75,440.50. Contract is closed, hydraulic evaluation is done. On the tank design, we're at 30% design. That total contract for design, construction management, submittal review, soup to nuts, was $668,705. We took that to council. So far, we've been billed out $182,450. And we're still continuing to work on that. We did take some time in between those two events to apply for the DWR grant.
FEMA.
Sorry, the FEMA grant. Yeah, I see DWR did, but we did not get that grant.
Can I ask a question? This time last year, we're sitting here, what percentage were we at last year? 30%.
Of drawings.
Yeah. We were going to finish 2 years ago, then last year we were going to finish, now we're still sitting here. And I'm sorry, if I'm wrong, please tell me, but in my memory, we haven't gone a freaking inch in a year when it was supposed to be done 2 years ago. So with inflation and everything else going on, while we're dinking around trying to get grants that we're not getting, we are not fire safe and ready to go.
So we were trying to get grants, I'm sorry, can I?
Yeah.
Please, I just spoken to anybody, where I'm on, I know.
We were trying to get grants, the other thing that came around is, a strong potential for development at the Alexander Valley Resort site. Coupled with these things, and Patrick's, hydraulic evaluation. Well, you guys haven't had it yet, but I'm working on a memo with the professional recommendation that we put a pause on the 500,000 gallons up at that site. It's a very challenging site, and none of the evidence shows that the expenditure to put 2 massive tanks up there is warranted.
So if that tank goes bad right now, which it should a decade ago, what do we do for 1/3 of our town?
It won't have super detrimental effects.
So it's not a direct service tank, it's a ballast tank.
I understand, but it still is something that will directly affect 1/3 of our town, that whole site. And the reason for what we were doing is so that you can take one offline, as you know, and still have the water flowing properly. This has been on the books since I became the mayor in 22, saying it would be done this year. And here we sit at the same numbers. I'm gonna go sit next to Rob and bitch at you guys. I don't know what you want me to do at this point, because I'm trying to get shit done. I'm promising it to my community and we're not getting it. And I don't know what to say.
And I do wanna push back,
Please. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm
well,
just
you know,
a
and
little hot on something.
just doing shit to do shit
Yeah.
is not always the right way.
And when a council or a voting board says do it,
Then we do it.
Yeah.
Then, absolutely.
but you don't. Then you say, no, I'm gonna go get grants.
Well,
or I'm gonna go
and
to
we
this.
did try to do that.
I'm gonna
And-
wait because of this other project.
Todd, nothing happens in a vacuum. I do think that it is in the city's best interest to wait for the master plan that's currently underway. The update to the 2010 master plan that you're referencing there. To better inform on what an appropriate size storage facility is on that site. It's a challenging site. We can absolutely move forward with the 500,000 gallons. It's not needed. We're not even sure that you need the entire 200,000 gallons that are currently up there. And so my recommendation is to wait until that thing can get studied holistically with the entire water system and optimize what's going to go up there. This also is in tandem if the planned development moves forward with the 1 million gallon tank at the Alexander Valley Resort site. I mean, it's questionable if we even need storage up there. Now, that's extreme. I'm playing extreme.
Yeah.
But, and to be fair, that development may never happen. And we do like to pretend like developments may never happen. I'm gonna put all the eggs in that basket of all.
You're still working with the open engineers contract to, we're moving forward.
Let's just say this was a 200,000 gallon tank that you decided to, or recommended putting up there. Let's say we went that route. What's the difference in cost between that and a 500,000 gallon tank and all the engineering studies and everything that are going on?
It's,
Minus the inflation that we've gone through over the past 3 years of trying to say we're going to be done. I think that we're probably getting pretty dang close to, we should have done that day.
it's significant because the site is topographically
You're like
challenging.
2.6 million.
So it always
completed, right?
I'm
It was
sorry.
asked
The weight, is that the issue?
more to do the second tank to add 500 because of the.
Rating of the retaining walls necessary to support the tanks.
Yeah, you're right. But, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but at council, we approved this 2 tanks to go up there.
Yeah, that's what.
And that's why I asked the question of the studies too. It seems to me I've heard study after study after study. And like, the vice chair is saying is, I mean, we're still sitting stagnant right now. And there's a couple of projects here that I'm gonna ask about that are sitting stagnant. I
Yeah,
don't
that's
understand.
600.
It's frustrating to, hold on, let me finish. It's frustrating to Rob. It's frustrating to the town. It's frustrating to us when they come up and ask council members what's going on. Don't have an answer for you. And then you can go back to 2020, 21, 22. We're just sitting here on things and, you know, we've got to shore up this water system, shore up these projects before, in my mind, we sit at that council or that budget meeting and, you know what I mean? How can I say, absolutely, let's go get some more stuff. Hold on, we got all these projects sitting stagnant right here. I have a real hard time doing that. And that's where that's my stance right now. This budget meeting is going to be a great meeting, but
Or even knowing that the right thing to do is do the water increases to make it still third lowest in the county.
right.
But how do I look these people in the eyes
That's what
and
I'm
say,
saying.
we didn't do what we said we were going to
Yeah,
do?
give us more money.
Please.
I know.
And then we're at 7%, 3% of that goes towards inflation now.
So just frustrate, you see the frustration we're starting to build.
And I get it, like sometimes you don't always agree with what the votes are, but the votes are the final. They're the decisions the city made. And so, we had issues with our past city manager. The reason it's former. It's things that we didn't approve of. That weren't being handled correctly, and we need to make sure that this city is doing what the council tells them to do, because it's the will of the voters. And I'm sorry if it pisses you off, I'm sorry if I'm a jerk, but I can't keep kicking this can down the road, and that's how I feel. And that's how I feel we're absolutely doing a disservice, whether it's better in the long run to have 200,000 gallon tank. I'd rather have a 500,000 gallon, because guess what? It's more storage in some fashion. We can change or do different.
Yeah, that's what our those 30%, that's why we pushed so hard to get those designs to include that retaining wall and all that,
And we know it's more money. I mean, I was brought up, like I said, it's 2.6 million. We were told, I remember that number, if I remember correctly, right?
it was, yeah, I think
Budget for
2.6, and then with the design of the wall, because we had to move that
And
wall
we
back.
said, again, we wish we would have done it sooner. Why did it go so high? Now we see why.
Yeah.
Do it.
I will say that when reviewing the older CIP project list, and those numbers were extremely low.
Absolutely.
Like,
That's why we
really,
died
really
like
low.
2.6. We knew that.
No, not for just this project, for all projects. If like half of what they should have.
What's the path forward on the tank project?
Both tank projects, right? There's two of them. Right? Two tank projects?
Well, 2 tanks, 1 location.
I thought there was,
No. You
There's
got
a repair.
You're talking about Ritter, which was an 88 tank, and you're talking about Southwest or Cherry Creek, which is a 66, 67 tank.
Right.
Both, both projects.
You're talking about 2 locations?
Right, if you look at- I'm talking
Yeah,
about there's two tank projects that I want to make sure we're clear when we're done with this meeting.
One's Ritter, one is what you're
Yes,
talking
both
about now.
tanks are in both.
Are we talking the recoding, the?
Ritter's
I'm
been,
talking about item one, ready to go,
Right,
done.
so Ritter's been, the second tank at Ritter has been built, it's there.
Okay,
The older tank, the original tank needs to be recoated.
correct.
Right, so we're gonna get numbers for that, and I have a feeling the recoding process consists of disassembling it. Sending it somewhere, having them blasted and recoated, sending them back and reassembling it. I have a feeling that cost is going to be right in line with just purchasing a new tank, but we have to get those numbers first. Cherry Creek tank, we have the engineering contract, and we're still working with Jeff, the engineering, to move that forward.
Can those tanks be lined instead of coated?
Like
Like a water tank, like you do on.
a bladder in there?
Yeah.
Not really, no.
well, and the other thing I wanna do with this too, and you know, is I think what we should bring in, we've got Vanessa here, we've got Derek here. I think we need to bring in our senior water operator too and get involved in these conversations. He's got some institutional knowledge, he knows that plant inside and out, he knows diameters, he knows flows, he knows pressures. And I think that when we have these future meetings that I need him here, he needs to be here, sitting here and actually, if he gives out his, you know, and that can be combined with everybody, when you give out your knowledge that you've been working on this water system for the city of Cloverdale for so long, I think that you're your opinion is extremely valuable. I'd like to see him sitting here and talking to him and finding out.
He's gonna try to make it to the infrastructure, I mean, he's just on vacation this week.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I think that's, I've mentioned that for a couple of years, but I think that our senior operator needs to be sitting here. He's got some really good ideas, so. Right.
Can I ask like what's on the property right now? The Masonite property you're talking about. Is there a tank out there right now? You
No.
guys are proposing a new one?
No, there's not one out there.
There's not one.
No.
The, if you're talking about the Alexander Valley Resort site, the 2010 master plan that Mr. Kozlowski has here. Recommends a 1 million gallon tank be put in at that site. And so that's because the site is with the development, the proposed development, they're on the hook for it.
Where would they put it?
They've got some preliminary plans.
Top of the tallest hill there.
That's.
And then where would that water come from?
It would be hooked into the city's water system.
It would come from the Russian River, it would come from the Wellfield, in the middle north end of town.
First Street area.
Okay.
Okay, moving forward, we've got reimbursed. We have our well, reimbursement, we had a contract for the well drill, which was 612,736. And design for 452,375. We've got grant reimbursements of those two line items of 1,076,134.45 so far. We're looking to close that out.
Those are for the wells that we just dug. Are they producing correctly?
No, they're not.
What are we doing about that? And I don't know if that's infrastructure or admin, but.
I'm gonna touch more on that, on the infrastructure, this was so far, the cities hasn't seen any of these costs hit all been DWR money. Has been paid for all these wells.
I think, per the mayor's request, we're working on a table with all the projects, status, how much spent, next steps, and we're gonna be presenting that to the whole council as soon as we get all that together. So tell Rob about that too, so.
Yeah.
Thank you, yeah.
There's, you hear a lot about studies, so we are responsible for quite a few state and federal mandate studies. One large one is the urban water management plan. We're working through that right now. That's at the city's water enterprise cost of 124,900. We're almost completed at that, and I don't have a billing to date yet, but we plan on a full total contract being done. That is a state mandate, water master plan also. Updating that is also mandated. We're looking at that contract at 266,400. Billed to date is $13,295. We're looking to see that contract fully billed out, probably by the end of the year. So that'll fit this current fiscal year and some of the beginning of next fiscal year. We also have the annual water use report that's $9,950. It may go up next time we have to do it, but we're anticipating that to be filled out. I had already touched on the DWR here. Brand. And so we're moving into some of this more streets oriented budget stuff. We got $1,032,842.55 in the Measure DD total budget. Council has elected to devote $900,000 for street repairs. And $60,000 if the $1.2 million is the active amount in the total period, which we're looking at. We have 1 quarter left of revenue to come in, and it kind of aligns with that one. So, and that extra 5% is 60,000 for what we're calling pothole repairs, which is gonna be represented on the streets budget as, I think, operating supplies, and then there's another line item that's, about $20,000 a year. Does that major DD money is gonna take up for potholes, repairing little pieces of striping and stuff like that. Okay, and then moving on to, continuing projects, we have the Sonoma project, we thought there was a grant awarded to us for $700,000, or I'm sorry, not 700, it was the Sonoma project was awarded to us for $500,000. We've elected to add, $150,000 for Measure M LSR, streets and roads, banked funds to that. We're also devoting $100,000 that is budgeted in our streets fund. And then we're going to have $168,000 in Measure DD funds go to this. Also and then this, what you're gonna see, it wouldn't be the next fiscal year's DD funds, it would be the amount of DD funds we've accumulated currently. We also have another, what they call the Sonoma project. And that, the total grant amount from the SCPA, Go Sonoma competitive fund, $700,000. We've elected to contribute $340,000 for our Major M LSR local streets and roads funds to that. That's banked funds. So we do have a maintenance of effort we have to do. So if we do need to get some of these funds out the door, we've elected to, it budgeted already for $100,000 out of our streets funds, and then also $168,000.
Just the stretching plans and the ASTI apartments, sidewalks and all that, so those, this is guard or?
No, well, this is the sidewalk completion from, it's, Shady Lane to Muscat Creek.
Okay.
We've elected to finish that sidewalk section, that was part of that grant project. But we've also elected to turn it back in and not continue the expensive path of right-of-way acquisition and a large retaining wall. Because the distance this money would have taken us wouldn't even have sound.
About for the ST Roads apartments, where are we at on that? I know there's a full project out there and everything, but where are we at to look like we're making progress? No parking signs, anything out there?
Signs are up.
They're all up there, okay.
We do have, we have heavily negotiated the street lights with the builder. There's a
So
couple.
just real quick on that, they are asking for occupancy, they ordered the solar street lights, but there's a back order.
Yep.
So we aren't gonna release their bond till they're in, they showed Derek that they purchased them, so we're confident that's gonna happen, it's just.
And we
And
have
the first street sidewalk too, so
Okay.
also, go ahead.
Who's on the hook if a kid gets hit out there? With no streetlights and a highway and no parking signs yet. And all the issues that we have.
the no parking signs are there, the flashing pedestrian crossing beacons there.
They're there and installed or?
Yeah, yeah. They're not they can't get occupancy without those things. Unfortunately, the streetlights were overlooked a little bit.
I had a conversation with Hector today. I recommended they continue the bike lane to go down to the blue building. Now the Citrus Fair because it stops right at the no parking signs.
Mhm.
And then look at some way to continue that no parking all the way down.
Yeah, I thought the park is gonna go all the way to Spur Drive.
Yeah, 'cause it stops right at the end of the ASTI apartments and then there's
Yeah,
nothing.
That's good.
We can't have 50 cars parking along the way that's that road.
I can't enforce it unless there's no parking signs there.
Exactly.
Bike lane is
We'll get
clear.
Yeah, because that's gonna be an issue.
All the
Because
way-
everybody's, they're gonna go to the end of that
Sucker
no parking sign.
Occupancy until those signs are in place and the police officers, enforce it because you will have a major problem if you do this.
What about the first street sidewalk for kids walking from the apartments to school? That sidewalk's a disaster, plus you get big trucks parking on the sidewalks, that forces the kid to go onto the street.
That's what we're talking.
Okay, that's exactly what we're talking
Bid
about.
opening for that?
May 27th, I believe.
Yeah, so it's out to bid, we'll do the live bid opening.
Because it was really dangerous.
We all agree, this is also the thing that the state threatened to sue us because we asked for sidewalks and lighting. For that reason, they said that we had to pay for it ourselves and they're gonna sue us and take away our funding. So, that's why we're in this predicament. Unfortunately, we're
Do you
doing,
have that in writing?
I'm sure somewhere.
I would love to see that.
Well, we'd have to dig back to David Kelly's emails.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
can see if I can find it.
PRA request.
I got 17, go for it again, Jennifer. We're good.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt me. You're doing on my school board. I'm wonderful.
So with these two Go Cinema projects, I did present to the community development team, for the county and for the SCPA. Twice, once brief report on both these projects for some changes, additional striping, additional asphalt paving. The reason we're devoting the major DD monies is because, instead of having someone come in and grind the stripes off and put them back on, I decided that we could just grind the asphalt, put new asphalt and new striping in. And, we can use some of these major DD money. So,
I got something real quick on the road, so I know we kind of start skipping around here, but I know the council came up, we had a list in front of us to figure out which roads we wanted to do. Did we ever nail that down and get it 1, 2, 3, and which ones are gonna happen?
I think what I was gonna suggest is we bring that back,
Okay,
and I think given some of the
so
estimates we've gotten, we may not have to borrow that money. We can get a lot of them done.
yeah. So,
That's,
yeah, on your budget, we're seeing contractors, they were hungry a couple months ago, now we're really looking good.
Okay.
I can jump right into that, the First Street is gonna start probably in the next, not the First Street sidewalk, the First Street grind and replace
Right.
section. So that's been out to informal bid, we got a $93,222 bid, for grind, repave, fabric, moving the iron.
and I think, well, yeah, and I think the reason I'm bringing that up is the Press Democrat decided to put out that article that said, hey, Cloverdale's paving everything, are you on the list, question mark?
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Yeah, and that kind of put us under the gun.
She took pieces of multiple
Right.
lists.
So that being said, you know, there's a lot of folks out there. I've gotten a lot of really good conversations and emails from folks that are showing proof on that are actually rising their streets up to what need to be done. There's some of them that are atrocious out there. Haven't been done in 46 years. I get it.
Believe me, I get yelled at the grocery.
Yes,
store.
so I just want to make sure that we're not, this thing doesn't turn into the previous.
So here's,
Let me finish, doesn't turn into the previous city manager and say, yeah, we're working on that, and then 5 years from now, the next council's sitting there saying, hey, we need to pave these roads, because that's something that the council, we need to bring back, get those roads nailed down, get our bids out, and get these things nailed down. We're in prime time to get some stuff done around Cloverdale right now. We've got to show something to the folks of Cloverdale that your DD is going to work. First Street, yes, I get it, but there's other ones. Are we gonna be able to do all of them? Absolutely not. We're not going to. But we're gonna be able to pick some up. So we really need to nail that down with the council, come up to a solid decision. Everybody's happy, and then hit the ground running.
yes, that's that direction to do some other ones in there.
yeah, so, previous meeting, you guys did make it clear that, you wanted to see that, that going forward in the next fiscal year, you're gonna devote 900,000.
Mhm.
But your clear direction was you wanted to see streets paved with what's existing.
Correct.
So the most efficient, I wouldn't say most efficient, but the fastest way to get projects out the door is more smaller projects and formal bid projects that we can get done as fast as possible. That's where First Street came from, so. You'll see that done in, total construction like a week time, right? We also have slated, we have, Franklin. There's a section of Franklin there.
Maybe second, first.
Yep. We have that. There's a few others that we're looking into, these little sections that are surrounded by almost new pavement. That just have these bad sections. So we're gonna try to get a couple of those out the door as fast as possible. And then moving into the next fiscal year, what you're gonna see on the budget meeting next week, Tuesday.
Yeah.
Is you're gonna see Jefferson, you're gonna see a design cost. And then you're gonna see phase 1. And then you're gonna see the budget remaining. Per council direction of the streets, just kind of as a placeholder, as council with directed streets. The sections of Jefferson was already next on our SB one list. So we need to do some right of way acquisition for that, so we need to start that as soon as possible. And so we're gonna devote some of that current DD money to those right of way acquisitions and roll into design, roll into construction, and then it's probably gonna be about $500,000 each budget cycle of discretionary streets that you guys are gonna turn us towards.
With the acquisition, right, away acquisitions, they're gonna cost us a lot of money.
We're hoping not. It's a very
That's
small
something
piece.
that you wanna talk about, me kicking something down the road, that's where I'm gonna kick the can down the road. Is have
Yeah.
all our money spent on legal fees and all this sort of
Yes.
acquisitions versus putting pavement on the ground.
That's
Yeah,
for individual property owners.
As much as I'd love to do
Yeah,
Jefferson, I'd rather go hit Rosewood where I don't have
yeah,
that type of thing.
right.
Hillview.
Yeah, Jefferson, Hale, there's a few other streets who,
You will have. a lot
are
of
gonna
issues.
have, we're gonna have some right of way acquisitions that were, you know, things are going right up into the
You have
street.
major trees, you have
Yeah.
all sorts of things on those that you're going to, there's a creek that runs through there, that you're gonna run into, you're gonna lose all your money really fast.
And we've heard positive
One.
feedback from some of these residents, because I think they like a finished sidewalk in front of their.
Just takes one.
Yeah, because some of them, they're going to fight you really hard on that, because they don't want it, because they love their country road. So, if they're gonna get it, and that's why it makes me nervous with the Jefferson and doing that.
Yeah.
I really think we need to focus more on the Tarman area first. I love your Franklins, but I think Jefferson is as bad as it needs it.
Yeah.
It's its own speed bump. And it's going to be knocked off the bat.
It's pretty high on the list of. You know, most council conversations, absolutely.
We come back with that.
We come back to that list and refine that.
And now
list.
we have some rough estimates.
Yeah.
It'll help.
And we do have,
We need to
what
really.
is the Clark,
Clark Avenue is,
the totality of it, do you know that?
oh, the budget numbers, no, not.
But Clark's even better than the rest of them. That's the thing, is Clark has been redone a couple of times, even though it has all the ditches and all. the-
Yeah, we're kind of trying to get like this. Council would elected to do Clark with that SB one money, and that's gonna get storm, water and sewer, which anywhere in Harmon, it would have to do, right? Because Harmon, you can't even use a vibratory compactor on the subgrade because you'll break pipe stands.
They redid ABCD, I believe it was, in the eighties. That's the last time anything was done. Alder Blair called it back.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's what
Yeah,
Alder Blair called it back. That's how those streets go there. So. Sorry, I took
So,
a little while.
Just real quick there, it's coming up every year, council has to pass a resolution on that LSR SB one
Yeah.
funding. And so
Mhm.
previous council members selected Clark. I
Yes.
think
Yep.
that they selected Jefferson for some
They did.
reason, I wanna say
They did.
Franklin, but maybe it's.
They've
Jefferson.
selected just.
Clark
But
was
if,
way before even my time.
if,
That's how long. that
if
was.
you guys are proposing, Tarman instead, I think that's, certainly a city council decision. We will need to submit that resolution
I
by
have,
first of
yeah.
July.
Yep.
So hopefully that's on the agenda.
Yeah, so on Monday, the infrastructure agenda does have item 2, it's just street repairs based on projects.
Yep.
Perfect.
And then the item under it is street maintenance, which is ongoing.
We're in a good direction. Off of that, good.
Perfect.
Because
I'm
right
taking
now,
direction from both subcommittees.
Bring to the councils all the way up.
because what I did with SB one funding last go around, we had pulled Jefferson off. Because we saw the major DD coming down the line. And we could use major DD, and we were gonna finish out Clark before we.
And Clark, you have a plan through Alta or through Blair? Is it past the park?
No,
Okay.
No, it ends at the park.
It is at Park, so it's Blair, it's Blair, it's ending at Blair, okay.
Yeah.
But in anticipation for. Mayor Way, Tarman, Rosewood, which is my top line out there.
Hillview in there too, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Mayor Way.
Yeah.
We've put in the budget $185,000 in the water budget distribution system for piping repair. Because if we do these streets,
You're gonna break some.
water is gonna need to be replaced, so we need to have that budgeted, same with wastewater.
Mhm.
Those were 15, that 50s, that would be your main repair line items on those budgets, because once we get into.
We have
those,
money for that. Yeah, we have,
It's there,
we
you,
have that.
yeah,
We have the DED signs, so all these jobs will, so people will understand we're using.
yeah, we got the big signs, just like we did with Major End.
Yeah, we voted on those, so.
Yeah, we sold this as bang for your buck. I don't wanna waste it on
Yeah.
land acquisition and sidewalk repairs that people will buy this on versus actually paving full block, people screaming and cheering for us,
Yeah.
because that's what.
Watch the entire
I'm sorry, I
pile
watched
of
your
money
meters,
go
I don't
nothing.
want this.
Maybe when we bring it back to council, we'll have a sense of how hard that right away is gonna be to get.
I don't think it's gonna be that bad.
We have to, like an engineer, break it up and they sign it.
Yeah, I don't know, I
Let's
don't
go.
expect it to be that way.
Yeah,
It's a very nice driveway is made out of dirt that they
Yeah.
love.
That section of Franklin is gonna be, that little section is gonna involve sidewalk too, but there's no right of way acquisition. Or for that,
Yeah, there's curb, there's just no sidewalk, I remember.
that's right.
So Derek, since you handle both, unlike Caltrans on 101, where we did fresh pavement, then started digging up the freeway. So we have a situation where there's water mains or sewer mains. And so we're not gonna necessarily do that road first, because we wanna get sewer and water mains either redone or, you know what I'm talking about, like, you don't wanna
So
pave a
like,
road. and
that
pave
was
it up.
another advantage to doing sections of Jefferson's, because the water and sewer has been replaced there.
Got it. Okay.
And that's the.
I know
the reason
exactly what
they
you're
didn't
talking
pave it-
about.
Yeah, so
It was frustrating.
the reason they didn't pave it, from what I read the first time, is because of these right of way acquisitions and not being able to complete the curbs and put the ADA ramps in.
Okay. And then one other little close to home question, there was, I think someone had either a broken sewer or. Water line in their properties on Cherry Creek Road. And it looked like the city or contractor came out and redid a connection right to the street sewer halfway down Cherry Creek Road.
Yes,
And then they came back and redid it. What was the reason for the redo? Like, does that cost us a lot of money or is that the contractors?
that was 100%
On their dime?
privately paid for.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
Perfect.
none of us.
Is that the one?
Is that a sewer line code?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
got you. Perfect. And then, since you're redoing some of the streets and whatnot. When they did our subdivision, they put in a swale, it's called, right? And so the water gets, instead of it all coming down the streets, it goes down like a ditch thing. And there's bluestone rocks and it's a swale and then it goes to the sewer. Are you looking at doing that for stormwater runoffs and swales?
Is this?
As you do roads or no?
Not at this time, I mean, we're not looking at it right now.
Okay.
So.
So not even in new subdivisions, then?
In new subdivisions?
Yeah.
Whatever's mandated by the stormwater board is.
And is swales mandated? Because we can never get any one out of Gore's team to address that issue.
Yeah, I know that LID structures and stuff like that are mandated, but
Okay.
I have to get back.
No,
I think,
Um,
you wanna go more?
I got a couple of questions, couple of things I've got. Just quick update on, when you bring the stuff to the full council on the generator, we need to get that generator taken care of. I wanna know, like, when did that thing get, when did I think council's already allotted money for that, correct? I know we did. So I wanna know what the status of the generator is when that thing's gonna be showing up. Obviously, our SCADA system, same thing. What's the deal with the SCADA? And we've already gone over the solar. This is gonna be part of my thing right here. I'll probably be asking at most meetings on just shoring up all these projects. Gearing towards water. Water's huge right now, and I wanna make sure that we got the way to monitor it, the way to power it up, the way to do everything, so. Just put those on the list when we bring it to council, so everybody in the whole council knows on those things.
Yep.
What else?
I was thinking, I was a question.
Okay, Jennifer, jump, let's do.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm curious why, is it EK1 or EKI?
EKI.
Okay.
Yeah.
EKI.
Yes.
Why can't an RFP be done officially? And then the second part of it is the way that I read it. It seems like it would make sense to do this when the urban water management plan is done, that we have the most recent information. What do you guys think?
Jennifer, I'm talking with the water agency who's supplying the money for that study about options. I don't know the urgency of it. That's one of the main questions. So we are planning on bringing that back to the council. Now I'll work with the council to see the best path forward. Again, the reason, this is not really on the agenda, so I don't want to talk too much about it, but the main reason was their low cost and their check by the water agency that it was met what the criteria was needed. So I understand the perception. I do, and we're gonna be working through that, bringing that back to council.
All right. We've done with public works, water, wastewater.
I have more questions. One of the things that I think you should get a refund from Hildebrand. The reason being is he's been presenting what I call bad information. And that's why when I sat there in the audience, I was totally incensed. And if you look, his original chart is the one with the red bar. I think I said that as a public comment, so I'm not going to belabor this. And the red bar is what the original chart was, and he was showing the non-red bar. So I would like to find out what this consultant's doing, because it's not representing what he did in 2020, 2021. And then he's repositioning it by putting everything that, you guys are already aware, that should have been done into what still needs to be done. And then that ties into my question, and maybe that's something that Susie can help us with, that I want to understand the financials with meter revenues. That is, back in 2021, it was $330,000 monthly the city was bringing in to the water sewer department. And now we're up to roughly 634,000. So the question is, where is all that money going? Plus the impact fees. If you look at what David Kelly said in 2020, he said, for example, the water financial utility plan proposed to use reserves from the impact fees to pay for capital projects such as 1.4 million for the new well, which as I understand it is done or not done. And another 22% of the chlorine contact basin, the backup one that Derek explained why we need the backup. 22% was supposed to be funded by impact fees. So the question is, where are all the impact fees going? Because there should be millions of dollars for that. Not to mention the utility tax. Is that money rolled into the water department? And then, of course, the DD, sales tax revenues, if you need to support more money for what you're doing with some of these projects. The other thing is, I talked to a couple of builders. One of them told me that it's the ratepayers for the water and sewer department instead of the apartment block developers that are being asked to pay for apartment block costs through water and sewer rate increases. So one, is that true? And B, that seems wrong to me. And at the time, they said 4 million, and this is through David Kelly and the builders, 4 million has to be recovered by Cloverdale city government. Because, for example, $20,000 per lot for sewer and water, I believe that's the wet service and the dry service. I'm not a builder, so I'm not sure. Since that amount is being foregone, in order to put up affordable housing and ensure the city gets a check mark for state compliance for affordable housing. So have the ratepayers of water and sewer been funding the developers' apartment blocks for low income housing?
Sometimes we're doing small ones.
No. So should I send that in as a request, or? Because we asked that back in 2020. And so that's a concern.
All the affordable housing pays all the impact fees.
They just. Okay. And then you have the history of what the impact fees are and where they're going. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're getting off topic, but
Yeah. Well, it is related to water.
yes, it's on the website. Yes.
That's our AB 1600.
AB 1600? Okay.
Every year we do an impact fee report.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, thank you.
And there is a short answer as well, because ratepayers do pay things that the affordable housing units do not.
Okay.
So that's why you hear me say that sometimes it's cost deficit on our
Yeah.
budget. And we can talk about that later more if you'd like.
Sure. And then I'd like to get a refund from Hildebrand for that amount of money for photocopying an old chart that he tweaked. And the new chart was completely wrong. You were misled, in my opinion. So I'm happy to talk to him. Last time I tried calling, he says, no, talk to the city manager. So
just real quick, we would like direction to continue to work on the status update for all the wastewater. I guess, and and a separate track, streets. And present that to council.
Yes.
Which I think was your direction anyway, it was just.
And should it something that you want to try to bring as an action item, is something we can bring as an action? You know, or is it more of a direction and then come back with the final list?
That's what I think we should do.
I think there's two different
Streets we're talking.
the list of streets.
List
You
of
guys talked about.
streets, yes,
Right.
we need to finalize that and get that solid. That's one.
Since this is the finance, you should say that we need to. Either say we're gonna borrow money or not.
It would help me if you guys just let me know this,
Yeah.
every council member could give me the top five and then we'll refine it from there.
Yep, that's what we need to do.
Okay. Send them my way
So.
and then I'll tell you.
An email to all of us, and we can do that through you with the not a reply all, so that it's done legally, and you can give it to Derek to move that forward, to have something to present to us. And then for the, as for that funding, the financing portion of it. I'd like to see these numbers first from them to see cost savings, as we know.
I mean, what's changed since we talked about it was we had these informal estimates. Which
Right.
seemed close, at least on the first one, we're pretty close, so. We can have confidence in that, we can say how much we have, we can get a lot of those done without borrowing money.
Perfect.
Yeah, if I have the list, we're just gonna project out cost per square
Right.
yard of what we're seeing right now.
And you know that if we do borrow, you're gonna have me all over trying to make sure these things are getting done. I just, it's going to be, it's going to happen, it's gonna happen.
If we were to borrow the yesterday, I mean, the Jefferson, if let's say, for example, we were to pay Jefferson. It would be the totality of Jefferson in one shot, like it would be, it's a gigantic project.
The
It
amount
would
of
be like
scale is
a bunch
way
of
better.
things.
I understand percentages and all this, but there's lots of cans in this town that we're still trying to clean up.
So we'll bring it back for full list.
And then for the project update, you want all current front, do you want? like,
Yeah,
that's probably one,
current
just that.
projects, I mean, it's just frustrating part is, you know, yeah, the generator.
Yeah.
Status on that, where is the generator? I know we ordered that thing, we just need to know where it's at, when is it gonna be installed, when are they powering this thing up? I mean, I think that's fair in the amount of time that's gone by since we authorized it. SCADA system, what's the status of the SCADA system, you know? Also, we've gotta look at, when it comes back to that generator right there, we've gotta look at, I know we're renting one, how much money has the city spent on renting this generator by not having one that we authorized? The council authorized to get installed down at the plant. I know that's gonna be a big number, but I need to know why are we spending money on this when we need to put the pressure on whoever the heck we ordered the generator from and have it here installed, hooked up and ready to run that plant as planned. So, yeah, some pretty in-depth. I think the council deserves it. You know, we went through the process of authorizing it and looking tier 1, tier 2, and doing all that stuff. And we need to know where we're making decisions. Where are they? What are we doing and why aren't they there? So. Yeah, just pretty in depth for the council, full report, the council on that next time, come on. Anything else?
No, I'm good. Thank you guys, I'm sorry, that was rude.
Hey, Brian,
On behalf-
on the water, are we still looking at a 7% increase, or we're getting Hildebrandt to go back and look
That's a
at it?
different topic, we gotta.
Yeah.
Later.
On that.
I thought, yeah.
Hey, please.
Okay. Let's move into item 4, city engineer budget amendment.
That's you.
That's on you.
It's a visiting day. Convinced you to hire me again. You guys see me every 6 months. I think it's been kind of an ongoing practice of the city to look at my contract and renew on a 6-month basis. And so it happens at the fiscal year end and the calendar year end. And so I'm hoping to be on the June 10th agenda for council consideration. I'm anticipating my next proposal to be around 230K to get me through the 2026 calendar year. My last proposal for this current 6-month block was 215K, which you guys approved. Thank you very much. I am running a little thin this month, and so I just do need to bump that up a little bit. Most of my efforts go towards grant administration funding, and they're not my efforts. I come with a whole team behind me. We have grant specialists, we have technical specialists, all the things. Also, a lot of my time is on development projects that are reimbursable, and so I'm always mindful of city budgets. You guys will see in my letter proposal, in June, a breakdown of what I hope to be reimbursable to the city and what actually impacts the enterprise funds and the general fund.
You see that June 10th?
Is that what you're thinking of?
So that's where I'm thinking.
Just know that I'm ready for, I don't wanna be rude, so please justify yourself.
Sure, sure.
Because the way that we lose in the budget is through engineers and attorneys. I wanna make sure we're getting bang for the buck.
Sure.
So,
I hope I'm bringing you that every day.
I check every time.
At least sleep a little bit, so I do hope I'm bringing you.
Anytime I see something, I complain and I bet you Kevin gets to hear about it, so.
Fair enough.
I don't do it to be rude, I do it to make sure the money's being spent wisely.
Sure.
Appreciate you.
Questions? Any other questions? Sorry. All right. CPAC contract amendment and facility attendant position.
Yeah, so, as few of you know, CPAC, their board president reached out to the city. Wanting to renegotiate aspects of our contract that we currently have with them. We had done a contract amendment a few times now over the last couple of years. This time they came with a few proposals. We went back and forth a couple times. I'm not gonna go into each individual proposal because we are still negotiating with them and nothing's prepared to go to council yet. Just wanted to give the general overview that negotiations have, for the most part, concluded. I met with their board president the other day, spent about an hour in here going back and forth on a few items. And we are ready to send those to our city attorney. City attorney's gonna draft up the actual
Everybody's unmuted to.
We're gonna be once they draft that language, we're gonna send it to their board for approval. Then it'll go to the full council for approval. One of the major changes that they proposed and we felt, through negotiations, both people leave the table feeling like they won and lost, but in this case, I think it is mutually beneficial that we are gonna retake over the AV tech. We had it previously done, we had a contract AV technician. Part of the previous negotiations, they started taking that over for us, so it was kind of a turnkey, we just walked in, had our meetings and left. It became not financially prudent for them, we updated all of our technology. They felt that it was in the best interest for us to maintain that, so we negotiated to where we think that we got to a point that we're gonna propose to you at council, that we're okay with that. In doing so, it would be a temporary position, so not a permanent employee, not a permanent part-time employee. A purely temp position under 1,000 hours. In this case, it'd probably be more like under 200 hours. Where this person will go in and set up the tables, run the meetings, and put everything away along with the building and clock out. We would be paying for them, so basically they are gonna lower the amount of money that we pay monthly to them. The space, just to subsidize for that amount, so it's pretty much a wash, but now this person's under our supervision. So I'll be working with HR, assuming you guys approve that contract. Or the amendment to the contract. We'll go to HR for formal review of what that position looked like and how much it would, what the pay rate should be and all that kind of stuff. Part of the reason that we felt it would be beneficial is because in the future, we are planning on having, once the scout cabin is completed renovating and whatnot, if we start doing reservations there and our other city facilities, we don't want to have it where somebody rents a building, we are like, here's the keys, give it back to us Monday, good luck, hope it goes well. You have staff there typically, somebody basically babysit the building, make sure that everything's running okay. Can contact staff if there's other staff if there's a problem, but ultimately they're the ones in charge of the lock the building, alarm it up, things like that. Many cities utilize this, that's why we're looking at a facility attendant as a proposed title, because they can handle that AV type stuff, handle that. So that's pretty much what I'm gonna talk to you guys about today. I'll just give you a relative update, but it is gonna go to council after, again, our attorney.
Be a city attorney. Gotcha.
So it's not really, financially, we're not really losing, they're reducing the price that we. By what we're gonna be paying, and this wouldn't be the same facility attendant for other facilities. We
Right.
wanna get that position established for the future.
The goal is to establish positions, so we can have a few folks, because right now, they have one person, you know, if they call in sick, or if they're available, we can't run the meeting, so, part of the goal is to have a few people trained and able to do that. Yeah, if you have any questions or anything, I'm happy to address them, but it's just a pretty easy update. One of the things we did decide too, that will help, since we're talking about budget at this meeting with this one. They agreed to not introduce changing the agreement. We won't be amending the agreement. It'll be an every 2-year thing, so that we can look at, versus right now, we are with CPI. They send us an invoice monthly, for how much, we owe them a month, and it will change. We decided, they agreed to, every 2 years, we'll relook at it and see what an advantageous amount is, but I was concerned that, you know, CPI goes 10 years from now, it won't be advantageous for us to be renting from them
Right.
at all. So that was one of the terms, but again,
So
it's
there
just,
would be CPI adjustment?
it'll be in there, but language that is addressed every 2 years, so that it can align with our budget. If that makes sense, probably not wording that well, but. Verse right now, it was, every single year. But instead it's an adjustment in 2 years. Saves the city a little bit. But again, nothing will be set in stone until both entities sign the contract.
Thank you. Any questions?
So Mike, you're gonna work with Shannon to define what the HR attendant position is and the salary and.
One,
Hourly pay is probably what.
yeah,
I'm gonna say.
exactly, their duties and, pay compensation. But we won't move forward with that until both entities approve the contract. And then in that, it'll state a date, like one of the whereas, one of the conditions will state when the contract will take effect. Cause I kind of, they wanted it to already be in effect, but
Right.
but I informed them, like, both entities need to do this, we need to figure things out. And it's not a quick process, there's also gonna be a hiring thing, you know, like, so there's quite a few steps to move forward. They're relatively painless, it just takes. And council consideration.
Any questions?
Thanks, Mike, for
Yep.
doing all the negotiations, CPAC, and appreciate it.
A lot of time's gone into that. Community engagement position proposal, item number 6.
Yeah, let me bring that up. Okay, so this is you're gonna be seeing it on the 5th. It is one of the discretionary items that we're bringing. City Manager Thompson and I felt it may be beneficial to bring it to the subcommittee first. Just for transparency, but also get the information out and any recommendations you may have. But basically, I'm gonna read through a summarized version of this on May 5th. You'll get a deeper dive. But excuse me, I didn't want to miss anything, so I'm just gonna read this to you. Basically, the city clerk's office has expanded responsibilities, including marketing, outreach, and community engagement, while continuing to manage core statutory duties, as well as record management and planning commission administration. Recreation coordination has been handled informally and is not assigned or resourced as a formal function. As a one-person operation, this creates risk to governance continuity and limits the city's ability to expand services. The city clerk's office is also managing increased volumes of public records requests and remains the only city in Sonoma County without dedicated deputy or administrative support, despite providing identical statutory services. This model is not sustainable and has contributed to retention challenges in the past. At the same time, there's clear council direction and community interest in expanding recreation programming via the community surveys we put out, direct messaging, and as you know, council has put in some seed money to recreation. But no department or position is formally responsible for it to date. So the proposal is staff proposes establishing a community engagement department, which aligns existing public facing functions, formalizing recreation, and creating capacity to expand services. This includes establishing the community engagement department as a whole, which is more on paper, just so people understand where things go. With the current department head being city clerk PIO. It would reflect existing and expanding responsibilities, and then organizing the department into 4 divisions, being the city clerk's office, marketing and outreach, recreation and events, and emergency management coordination and collaboration with the police department. Consolidating related functions under one structure to improve coordination and accountability, creating staffing capacity through either a full-time hybrid position or multiple part-time positions, supporting expansion of recreation events, and community engagement services. Ultimately, we felt that recreation, community engagement, and the city clerk's role all serve as primary points of interaction between the city and the public, making it a naturally aligned as a single department focused on communication, access, programming, and transparency. The staffing approach that we are looking at is, this is assuming council initial approval, staff will evaluate 2 options, a full-time hybrid position, being about 50% of it or so is legislative, mostly deputy city clerk, administration, things like that, records management, really helps with the PRA workload. The other half would be recreation events, helping out with community engagement. There's either the permanent part-time or the permanent or part-time approaches address a majority of the needs. Trade-offs in coverage, flexibility, and overall cost. And I'll go into those more in depth on the 5th. In either case, the goal is to distribute workload, improve continuity, expand services, and move away from a single position model. The specific position titles, classifications, and compensation ranges will be evaluated following direction from Tuesday's budget workshop. We'll give you a general about how much we think this may cost. Just so you can, it's a discretionary item, so you can have an idea. But a full analysis brought back, assuming that council's interested in the position. So high level, just like I kind of said, the positions was for support clerk operations and governance continuity, recreation and event planning, including facility rentals, organization support, including grant work and emergency preparedness coordination. This structure also allows the clerk to focus on other projects that haven't been prioritized for years effectively, as well as recreation management, marketing, and broader community engagement goals. So fiscal overview, which is a big part of the admin subcommittee and why it's coming to you now, is the proposal primarily relies on reallocation of existing funding sources with a significant cost recovery anticipated through recreation programming, events, and picnic site facility rentals over time. So the revenue generated from that is hoping to cover the majority of the cost that's new to the general fund. Everything else is just reallocating funds that we are already using for either contract employees, like our records management. Right now, we have somebody's working on a record project. That project is concluding soon. They are not allowed to help my office with anything else but that project, where allocating that funding towards position would be able to help with all the things that I just discussed. Like I said, a more detailed fiscal analysis will come to you soon. Should the council consider transitioning city supported events from the Chamber of Commerce to city administration, which is a potential discussion, the associated funding would be reallocated to support those services and further offset program costs. We've kind of discussed that internally that our chamber does a lot of events for the community. Most chambers don't do that. So if there's ever a discussion now or in the future that those programs, some of them, all of them, depending how council decides, this year, next year, future, doesn't matter. Any of the costs would come back to help fund this position as well, if we took over those events. So in closing, at a high level, we're operating without the structure needed to sustainably support the services we are being asked to provide. That includes both core administrative functions with the city clerk's office and the expansion of recreation programming. This proposal provides a path forward. It aligns with council goals and responds directly to community interest. While there's some general fund impact, as I said, the majority of the funding would come from reallocation of existing budget, along with eventual cost recovery from recreation programs, events, picnic, and facility rentals, including the scout cabin, which this position would help coordinate and administer. That is that facility attendant position I was talking about. And what we need today is your feedback and recommendations, and hopefully your support to bring this forward to the full council on May 5th for a more detailed discussion during the budget workshop. So yeah, just looking for recommendations or any suggestions.
I asked a deeper dive on the 5th.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
I've got one, I'm just curious, so you said there are how do other cities do it? Cause like I never filled out a PRA request. So I'm just curious, like other websites for other cities have like this instructions, like this is a good, like a guide, basically, like this is what will make our job easier, just to kind of.
Yes, that's a great it kind of goes into the next item, if it was just going to that at the same time.
Oh, sorry.
PRA support.
It's both, that's interim PRA support, This, when I came to the city, we're currently still using an Excel spreadsheet to handle all of our PRs. You submit it through basically a box that I created on our website. We do have, it's not operational yet, partially because of the capacity that I'm at right now to get training to all the staff and everything, but many cities do have programs. We have one, it's called Next Request, it aligns well with our website. It's just not up yet. And the reason it's not, like I said, it's capacity. I haven't been able to focus on that. And to answer your question, it's because I am probably the only city clerk that does do the PRS. It goes through the city clerk's office. That's where records are, it's under their purview. But every single city has either a records manager, deputy city clerk, or administrative support. Many larger cities have records people in every department, like you look at big cities. Smaller cities like ours, they at least have other administrative support to help that, because that's what I'm kind of bringing up here in this next item, which is interim PRA support. We are being inundated right now with PRAs, which is totally fine, as I've said to people who've submitted them. I'm very interested in the transparency about the process. People have a right to get information that they deserve to get if they're interested in it. But for an example, we had 79 of them last year. Manageable number. We've had 34 so far in 2026. That's only a third of the way in. Assuming that pace holds, we're looking at over 100, which wouldn't be necessarily problematic if it was a typical PRA that I received and requesting like, hey, I'm interested in this one document, or hey, I'm looking for the plans for my house from 2000, whatever. That's something we get from community development really quickly. Boom, here's your PRA things. Our current ones, the complexity has increased 100-fold. Each PRA is 5 to 10 prongs, which each one is its own PRA, or request for record in a sense. They get assigned one number, but the work involved in each one. It's just become to a point where I cannot keep up with the work that's involved in them. And the hardship with that is that the California Public Records Act, the CPRA, why we call them PRAs, doesn't care, for lack of a better word. It does not care about how much your staffing is. It does not care if you don't have good programs to find documents, if you don't have a good records management system, if you don't have, it doesn't matter. The public has a right to these records. So in this interim thing, we wanted to bring it up to council as, it's not on the discretionary list. It's just a discussion item more or less today, but even if we're interested in this position that would significantly support records, that is assuming it goes along the process and council approves it. We wouldn't be hiring till late July, early August, depending on applications. It wouldn't be filled till August, September, if we're lucky. I'm concerned about right now, April, May. I have about probably 10 open PRAs that are still not closed, many of which have been open longer than I would prefer. We've talked internally about having admin staff assist, people in the police department are helping. So we are trying to find creative methods to doing this. Some of the information, for example, if somebody asks, I want every correspondent between every council member between this date or whatever. Some of that is privileged information, right? It's things that we don't necessarily maybe want certain staff to be reading this, or sometimes it's got attorney-client privilege, which is one of the reasons we want to keep it, why we keep it in other cities. For example, keep like they have a records manager under the clerk's office, because they have that same amount of I don't know what you want to call it, but purview to that information and discretion with it. So I'm looking for solutions to resolve that aspect of that problem that we are having right now. And that may be getting it like similar to how we have the records project person or something with the records project, maybe somebody who has knowledge or experience in
It's a short
that.
run.
And just as a short run.
Attempt to get over this hump.
That's what I was gonna say, like four leaves of permitting, like group or whatever, they're like experts in kind of getting things through. Is there something that you like city government employees, temp agencies like that?
Sometimes, like the person who's doing our records was a previous city clerk, you know, they're very used to what they've done before. But again, there's a significant cost to it, and it's not something that we've allocated, it's not something, so we're trying to do as much in-house. Hoping that they maybe slow down, but with Esmeralda, with Potter Valley, with the different things that are coming up. I don't envision that happening.
Well,
So-
she's finishing her records thing, can she change her focus to be a new project?
Possibly, one of the things with her, and that's, you know, it's
That's
definitely not in turn.
Right.
Right, and, yes, you know, it depends, yes, in the short term, I think that'd be awesome. One aspect of the records project, the final portion is water and wastewater. They have significant records at both plants that we need to at least inventory and know what records we have. From what I've been told, they're not in there's not a storage and organization pattern that the city can regularly and easily identify records. So we need to at least do that, and that's her next stop. But what our goal was, because she's very familiar with the records project, was potentially having, since it's only gonna be water and wastewater going forward, with those having.
No, because they're still city records.
Okay, well, we were thinking of somehow having enterprise fund potentially fund the majority of that, so we could use general fund. To have another person come in, now the PRA is basically like reallocating the funding a little bit, since it's water, wastewater only.
Yeah, I think on the fifth, these are gonna be a couple big items right here, and, you know, my opinion here, correct me if I'm wrong, we're inundated now. There's a time frame for those things, they need to be done. Community has absolutely every right to get them.
And I
If
think
they're not being put out, excuse me, Jennifer, if they're not being put out in a timely manner, then absolutely, we're gonna need to find something to make that's a transparency thing. Whether it's temporary, whether it's not, and I'm sorry, I know that the hiring process takes a while, but that's where maybe we need to have a bigger conversation on how can we get this ASAP.
Well, and that's one of the reasons, we brought it up before, we were gonna propose this position a while back, and then we felt like, well, we're doing so many other things in the budget, so many other discretionary items, that we should probably just do it all at once. As the person proposing this, I would love to be hired for tomorrow, but, we also are just trying to figure out what can we do between now and. Cause council may decide not to, or they may not wanna fund it in a way that we can actually fill the position. Some of my concerns, you know, even if we do multiple temps, for example, we may not fill it. Not a lot of people want to do records all day or scanning projects, if it's not like the glorious job, which is what I'm more interested in the hybrid position, because at least sometimes they're doing other duties that can play around with recreation and marketing, things like that. On the other side, they also get to learn how to be a clerk in a sense, because they're helping the planning commission. So there are aspects, like I said, beneficial to both, whether it's permanent, full-time position or multiple part-time position, and maybe as recreation grows, that position grows. I don't know. And I don't know the answer, and that's why it's kind of been a cart before the horse thing. I like to be as transparent as possible. But that's why we're proposing it. And in the interim, we are just looking at any possibility to help go through these things, because they take a long time. And one of my concerns is that obviously we have a mandate to get through the public records act to get things out. I also have mandates to get other things out, like agendas. I have mandates to get minutes dated. Like if you look at our minutes right now, you guys haven't been approving a lot of minutes lately. And partially is because if I don't finish them right there, then and there, they're not getting it done, because I don't have the time. And part of this position, what's beneficial to it is that they're taking, assuming if you guys are interested in the position, it takes a big chunk of duties that most city clerks aren't doing anyway, so that I can focus on all the duties I should be doing. While it all is under the purview of my office, I do think, and I'll be candid about it, I think that, like I said in here, I think that is why, one of the reasons why this position, well, I love it and I want to stay in it, no matter what, I'm not in any way threatening anything, it has had a retention issue. We've had many clerks in, a 10-year span, and I think this is part of it. It's a lot. But I love it and I like it, but I do think it needs support one way or another. And how that looks, I'm very open. I just know that it needs support, so somehow.
Tuesday, we'll
Yes.
present options, right?
Yep.
Like, whole, two,
More or less, yeah.
Are we looking for ideas from this group, or you
I
just
think-
want us to say,
on Tuesday.
I know about this.
I wanna know where to go.
No, yeah, for sure.
I have a couple things that I would like to ask, to ask Tuesday.
I'm looking today for feedback and recommendations. I think from the budget side, we are gonna give. Because realistically, council doesn't give direction on. Hire full-time, not part-times, they're more,
Right.
it's all, but there's a budget aspect to it and you have to approve that, so. I think working internally with Shannon who's online. Susie, Kevin, we're all. Gonna try to figure out a couple of ideas that we can present in a way that makes sense. Is as fiscally responsible as possible. But yes, right now.
And that's why I was waiting until Tuesday. When you guys
For
come
sure.
up with Shannon, with, Susie, everybody, and bring it. When the council's sitting there, you can make a more informed
Yeah.
decision when you have, okay, it's gonna cost us this much.
Right,
With
well,
this option, A, B, C, you know what I mean? Then we can make, today it's just like, yeah, I'll see you Tuesday,
right, well, and
you know?
one of the hardships is that it takes. Time and money to have, Shannon, but if you wanna get on. Tell me the process, but we have to have somebody go in and basically. This would be a hybrid position, it's not one that's on our current, schedule, it's not. One that many other cities would have, they have to look at and do a class and comp study, figure out how much it's worth, so. The proposal I made has. Your guesses, what I think it could be worth. Or what I think would attract somebody to actually want to do this job.
These two.
But doing that takes, I think it takes significantly more time, and that's why I think what we want today is, or not today, but on the 5th. Will be more of a. Sure. Do it with 80 grand, be like, ooh, okay. Do it with 150 grand, okay, more manageable.
Right.
Do it with 200 grand, be like, okay, that could be multiple positions, because we also gotta think about benefits or not, or like, overtime, there's so many different variables, it's hard to come to council and be, I would love to just be like, this is the base cap. We can't do that until we have a bit of direction, so today it's more of a feedback, recommendations, if there's other. Duties or alignment or things, I know we've had some discussions about it, but I'm just looking for any information that I can help bring a better proposal to you on Tuesday.
The only thing I'm thinking is you've got hybrid, you've got temp in there. And I think we need to get the, how much, where's it gonna cost us? And like you said, everything you just went over. When the council's together and we're also at the budget meeting, that's when we can make the decision of, you know what I mean, so.
What,
I hate to say it, see you on Tuesday,
Yeah,
but
sure.
this has a big fiscal impact on. Different things and.
and that's where it's hard, is unlike, for
Let's see how it plugs into the budget here.
yeah, because if another department was coming, like a chief decides he wants to inform another officer, or he want another meeting.
That's a no,
We know how.
that's a no.
No,
Just don't even bring it.
No question on it.
I'm just think that it'd be a lot simpler that way, because we know what the duties are exactly.
Correct,
We know the
exactly.
pay scale, it's a lot easier to.
This is a new created, so there's gonna be some hiccups there, I get that, but plugged into the budget is gonna be, give us the ability to make more of a solid decision.
And that's like, we're running a couple of scenarios, to our best guess, knowing that it. Without doing a survey, like a,
Right,
a class of comp study, it's a little tougher, but I do want you to make an informed decision, because I know 2 years ago when I brought up just the recreation side. It failed with flying colors, and it was because it was too high, and it was. We weren't quite ready for it, I think we are now, but at the same time, it's the council's discretion.
A quick question for you.
Yeah.
I think you answered it, but so they would take over the event planning that the chamber does or no?
No, I'm saying if in the future that was proposed in any way for any reason.
Or this?
It would potentially help with that.
And so we would take funding that
Yes,
associated with that
Correct.
from them
Mhm.
to support
Yeah,
this.
but it's like.
Yeah,
So I've thought about this position a lot, because I know you mentioned it a while back. I like it, but I think we need to simplify it. And the way you can do that is creating an executive assistant to the city manager instead of an assistant city clerk, because then it's duties as needed, done. And then there's no issues with talking about, that's not in my job purview, or having to put 37 job duties in there. It's as needed by him, here's your salary moving forward, and you're an executive assistant to a city manager, and then he can give that person to you, he can give that person to Derek, you can give that person to your new assistant city manager, he can push. whatever's necessary for the city.
Some-
It
yeah,
might
some
be.
tasks.
That's
It's-
different than the city manager.
Correct.
Okay.
This is an executive assistant. It's basically like, his assistant. It's not the city
It can
manager.
be, it can be farmed out.
It's farmed out everywhere. It's the gopher. It's the extra
I have
person that you
one.
need when you need it.
What'd you say?
I said I have one of those.
It's
Executive
seriously,
That's your family.
every chief, every sheriff, every head, they all have this position. And it's like a glorified secretary. Because they know everything and do everything and create the city manager to give him the smiley face.
Right.
And what it will do is it'll help Susie when she needs it. It might help Shannon when she needs it. It might help. It'll always help Mike because he'll need it the most. But what it will do is give the ability to be flexible. And I think that 37 duties will actually lock it down and make it hard to fill. And I think if you said, I don't know, 3 days a week, executive assistant position, or maybe it's full-time, you can present it, I don't know the numbers, but whatever's necessary, but that's one thing that is full-time necessary. And can we simplify it by saying it is this executive assistant makes it more attractive and call it that too.
I'm just thinking logistics, where's this person gonna sit?
Up there. And the mayor's department.
It'd be his mayor's office. The only. And that's an option, we can definitely, look at it, I haven't yet, so my only thoughts initially would be. The deputy city clerk, just like city clerk has specific, not legislative, but there's, like, when I sign records, it's like a, based on your title.
Correct.
We can look at all that kind of stuff.
There's also like a management analyst, which is kind of a catch-all. Another position that
Yeah, the same thing.
Yeah,
But I'm just thinking that could be. Absolutely an attempt for PRAs. I mean, we are inundated.
That's where I'm at right
And
now.
I agree. I think there's a lot of retirees that we have that we can bring in. To help with that probably, because I know we've done that in the past. Something to think about. There's temp agencies that can pick up that slack too. So immediately.
Yeah, for
I
me,
just- I think it's
maybe
long
we
term.
can change Myra, change her,
put the water thing on hold for a little while.
yeah, switch her to that for, until that's kind of.
Mike definitely needs a hand. These
Yeah,
PRs, they're
absolutely.
coming.
I'm not trying to take.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to take away from you, because I know it's 99.9% will be you, but I'm making that position flexible for when you do have that downtime.
Yeah, and that was part of the, I don't have the charts that you guys can see, but the way we were breaking it out, or at least in the proposal was. X amount deputy city clerk, needing that title, X amount recreation, whatever you wanna call it, coordinator, or not. And then X amount administration stuff, which does catch all of that.
Well, we got some.
There's an option.
Let's work on it.
I was just throwing out an idea. I mean, you guys just think about it, whatever you present is what we're gonna have to work with.
I'm also trying to think about how the best way to get these services out to the community in the cheapest way we can.
And the direction Tuesday might be to look at it further. And I don't know if we're able to have all the details on Tuesday, yeah, like.
Yeah.
So this starts.
All right. Yeah. Oh, we don't even have to move into 8. We're done with 8, so that's the end. Do we have any final comments? Seeing none, all right, so adjourn the meeting at 3:54. Thank you, folks.
Stop the recording.
I just almost should have hit no myself again.
It just wasn't where I
Myself to
think about it.
What's maybe bad, just to leave it.
You know, when my text just start pounding, and they're going, I'm sorry, we're on your side, but I know something else went out again.
Yeah, I haven't even seen it. Yeah, I have no sort of meeting, so I don't have.
Are you guys gonna either even
Okay.
have the meeting on Monday?
Okay.
That infrastructure.
I don't know if I can sit without vomiting
Yeah.
and.
You guys are still recording.
Wait,
So here's-
We can't stop it.
I have a eye doctor appointment on Monday. At 8.
just put something.
Yeah, another vision problem too.
So do
I
I.
don't know when you.
Yeah.
Should I just do?
I'll send him one more text right now.
We were okay with the budget, agenda as I sent it, 'cause I gotta do both. I don't want to so. Yeah, for the.
Oh, yes.
Tuesday.
Yeah, we're good with that.
We're not gonna have the presentation.
I'm not gonna have any.
Okay.
I'll do it all Monday.
It's such a late finish if you want, but
It is.
I just gotta do that. I was here till 7:30 the other day.
I know I just. Like.
Can't get it stopped.
Yeah, good stuff.
Just turn the computer.
I got light.
Somebody's gonna watch this.
That's one. You know.
No, it's stuff on the TV. These are take the things out of their remote.
Put a camera on.
But still recording the audio.
Social media, and that's.
It's still recording.
It's not just-
I
You
know,
exit out the
it's like a truck it down, so I think we need to get the word out.
Just shut the computer down.
Hold on.
Thank you, Kevin, he actually responded to us.
Unplug the power, get rid of the back.
Just unplug everything.
He's the next one. He's like, Christ, what did Tom do to deserve?